annual inflation is slowly coming down, but the cost of key items most families worry about, housing, food, fuel, keep rising. The monthly Consumer Price Index report released today shows shelter costs are up nearly 8% from last winter. Energy prices are up nearly 9%, and groceries up more than 11%. One indicator we've been hearing so much about this winter is the cost of eggs. In just the past month, that price rose 8.5%. Here with me now is Douglas Holtz-Eakin, president of the American Action Forum, also served as chief economist of the President's Council of Economic Advisors and as Congressional Budget Office director. So, Doug, the Fed wants inflation down to 2%, that range, from last summer's 4-decade high, of course, when it got up to 9%. But, you know, it's slowed. The rate of increase is slowing. But how worrisome is it?
Well, I think, Chairman Powell put us on notice last week when he said this is going to be a long and perhaps bumpy journey to 2%. And he talked about 2024 as the year they might get to 2%. So don't measure progress on inflation in months or even quarters. It's being measured in years.
You won't be surprised I happen to have Chairman Powell saying something on this very point. He said that a surprisingly strong employment report rate certainly got his attention, everyone's attention, and he said that that's a sign why the Fed thinks disinflation still has a long way to go. Take a listen.
This process is likely to take quite a bit of time. It's not going to be, we don't think, smooth. It's probably going to be bumpy. And so we think that we're going to need to do further rate increases, as we said, and we think that we'll need to hold policy at a restrictive level for a period of time.
Yeah.
There you go. So not subtle. He's letting everybody know what's going to happen. And that creates the whole issue of how do we get through this next? We're going into a political year, of course.
Well,
how does the president get through this?
I think it's going to be bumpy. I think that's exactly right, because there are parts of the economy where the Fed has been very successful in bringing out the inflation, largely the goods sector. There are parts, services, where inflation remains entrenched. In shelter, it's quite strong still, 8% year over year. And so for some people, they're going to be asking the question, why is the Fed doing this to me? And the answer is because they don't really have a choice. They need to get overall inflation down, but the fallout's going to be uneven. And when the fallout's uneven, you go to the Court of Appeals, which is the Congress, and you start saying, hey, wait, talk to that Fed. And so we're going to see a lot of scrutiny about this process in the year to come. It's going to be more contentious.
It's going to get uncomfortable in a Congress where there's so much division among the Republican ranks, to say nothing of overall. And there's going to be a lot of bashing going on, and we're heading into a debt ceiling crisis, or a deadline at least, sometime in May or June or July.
Well, certainly the Fed would love to see that resolved. The economy doesn't need any more headwinds than what it has right now. Inflation's a big problem. They're going to try to deal with that. They have a plan to deal with that. Progress, however, is slow, and that's frustrating to people. It's like watching me try to get to my goal weight. We can't measure it in years, though, so we'll see.
You're doing pretty well. Douglas Holtz-Eakin, thank you very much, and that does it. Thanks for being with us for this edition of Andrea Mitchell Reports. Remember, follow us online on Facebook and on Twitter @Mitchell.